You canceled on my behalf. That y'all the only only radio station in the entire state. That tells you also what kind of systemic racism. How you got all of these people, you got all of these urban communities in Connecticut, and we only got one urban radio station? Are you serious? And y'all just now posting that Hot 93.7? The entire urban community should have been canceled your asses. I'm done with it. I'm done with all of it. From Netflix to talk about the black stories. They got a whole section of black movies. Why? Y'all just now getting on board? I had multiple sclerosis and a brain tumor, and I'm out here. I got 3 kids. I'm a single mom. I'm out here. I got fired from my job because I had a serious flare, found out my MS progressed 2 years ago. I'm out here. I couldn't get disability. I'm out here. Had to qualify. I qualified for food stamps. I'm out here. I know I am the people. I am the voice of the people. That's why I say I'm white supremacy's worst nightmare, because I ain't got shit to lose, baby. I live with my parents because I can't afford nothing. I can't afford a home. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing to lose. Ain't nothing white supremacy can do to me that ain't already been done. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. Ain't nothing that white supremacy can do to me that ain't already been done. I'm a survivor of suicide assaults. Ain't nothing that white supremacy can do to me that ain't already been done. It's the reason why this world ain't take me out yet. It's the reason why life ain't take me out yet. I ain't scared. I'm starting to get hate messages already. When Black women activists are leading this movement and they going missing, baby, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere until the job is done. And so for me, what we're doing is something new. It's strategic. And I know that people are saying, you know, maybe you should switch off of Facebook. Why? I ain't got nothing to hide. The people that I need to talk with, we talk offline. What I post on Facebook, I don't care what enemy is in there. You can see that. Go on, learn something from it. What I need to talk about that can't be posted, I don't post it in there. Baby ain't dumb. I'm formally educated under the oppressor. I know what I need to know. And I graduated from a private Catholic white institution with a 3.0, divorce with 2 kids and 1 in my belly. I told y'all, ain't nothing that ain't been already done that white supremacy can't do shit to me. You can't touch me. You can try, you're gonna fail. Y'all fucked up. Y'all fucked up is what y'all did. Y'all done made Black people so mad, and this is what you got. Y'all should have got it right back in the civil rights movement. That's what y'all should have did. But now you done fucked up, and now this is what you got. And it's a whole bunch of us just like me out here. I talk to many of us out here. I have a collective of Black women out here in the Connecticut area around my same age. And baby, we coming for you. We coming hard, we coming fast, we coming collective, and we coming strong. And ain't nothing you gonna do that can stop it. And that's all I got to say. And if I had a mic, I would drop it.
All right.
All right. You can't see, you might not be able to see in the chat because you're on your phone, but you got a lot of support in the chat.
Thank you. I'm just doing what I'm called to do. No.
That's it.
Oh yes.
No.
So I'm gonna just put one. Addie has to sign off, so I wanted to give her the opportunity to give some closing words, and then we'll do one more question and call it a night. Do you want to go ahead, Addie?
I don't want to get off the phone without being remiss to say that the opportunity is here for us to actually galvanize as a state, and we should not lose sight of that. A lot of the issues that we have all point straight to the state capitol, and we should really be looking at how do we shut that whole shit down until our needs are met. And this is a call to action to everyone on this call, especially all of the white co-conspirators across the state, because it won't be because we shut it down. It will happen when they show up in droves to shut it down with us. So it's been wonderful. Miss Barbara, I see you. I'm always checking for you. Always checking for you. Always.
It was a pleasant surprise seeing you tonight.
You gotta get in contact. And Karen, do that thing. Please stand firmly on what you're doing. I admire the work of Matt and Dana. Like, this is, I do this work because I support the voices of young people, because it's going to be your energy that really takes us to that next level. So it's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you all out in the streets. I'll be there with you. Good talking to y'all, and good night.
See you.
Good night, Eddie. So this last question I have is from Bree. They say, I live in Northampton, Massachusetts, which recently voted on a 10% cut to the police budget, which is obviously a pittance. It's cutting 5 positions, some already vacant, which while still giving scheduled raises. They're discussing forming a police review commission, and my question is how to engage my local government to get them to consider actual structural change, what strategies to use, what questions to ask, what the alternative to currently policing should actually look like, etc. And I'll put a couple out, and people can answer what they want. So that's one. Emmett asks, do you see the formation of a Black Party as a possibility in the near future? And Steve asks, let me get the exact, what is the attitude of unions to the movement in your area? Any progress towards expelling police, so-called unions from the labor movement? So a little spectrum there, but you know, give a couple of different things to speak on. Does anybody want to start off?
Like I said, unions are some of the most powerful forces that we have to go up against, because they, no matter how much we try to get police accountability, they always are right there to make sure that police keep their jobs or get pensions and all of that. So we know that that's a powerful force to go up against. I wanted to bring that question to the group, like maybe someone else can help me figure out how do we dismantle this stronghold that unions have on us, because that's why the police feel comfortable with whatever they do. We talk about giving them dash cameras. That meant nothing to them, because even when we see what they do on national TV, they still don't end up going to jail. So we have to find a way to dismantle that union that, to me, operates like the mob. And I'd like to know, how do we go about doing that?
Thanks, Barb. More from the panel, Alicia?
Could you repeat the questions again, or put them in the chat, maybe?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I can.
Do you have access to the Q&A thing next to the chat?
I know they want to know the attitude of our unions in our area, and how do we, I don't know, I forgot the other part. How do we, in other words, how do we dismantle that part of policing?
Yeah, so there's the 2 that I just put in the chat about how Northampton is decreasing police funding by 10%, which is not actually even really affecting them. It just means that they're not hiring more people. Yeah. And how to, what kind of strategies the movement can use, questions to ask, and what an alternative to current policing look like. Emmett asked, do you see the formation of a Black Party as a possibility in the near future? And Steve asked, what are the social justice groups and trade unions doing to get police unions out of the trade union movement in Connecticut?
Okay, I can talk a little bit about at the local level how to organize. I think one of the most important things, especially when you're organizing at like the town level, at the local level, is to really start mobilizing people through direct outreach. And that's something that we're just starting to try to do, literally going to neighborhoods, especially Black and brown neighborhoods that are disproportionately going to be affected by local policy, but are also disproportionately excluded from local policy making. And you really need to start building that power. You know, if you look at what happened in Bridgeport, the occupation of the police station, that was incredibly powerful, and that came from people power. And so if you want to really push these structural changes at the local level, I think that's important. And I think the other thing that's important is to really study up and figure out how your municipality works, because I find that in every city and every town, things work a little bit differently. So you have to figure out where the power comes from in your city if you want to be able to disrupt it.
Alicia, Dana, do you want to take a stab? Couple different things there.
In terms of the formation of a Black party possible in the near future, I definitely think so. I think people are pissed off. I think people have had enough. People have been had enough. People have been had enough, have had enough. So I think we really just need to work on teaching people different theories to make sure that the people know how to go about change. Like Barbara mentioned, like, this isn't the time for reform. If they wanted to do reform, that should have been done like 60, 70, 80, 90 years ago. This is the time for abolition. So we need to teach people what those words mean, what does that look like in our local communities, and how we can go about doing that right now, instead of waiting for the next election, waiting for these people's seats to be come up for election. Like, we need to start taking action now.
Right.
Thanks, Dana. Corinne, do you want to get on, or you busy?
You're muted.
Okay. I'm just wrapping up here. Am I answering the Black Party?
Yeah, if you
question?
want that,
Whichever.
that'd be a good question to answer.
Yeah. So personally, I do feel that way. When I first started this, that was not the plan, like, to not run for office. I would always say that, like, listen, I'm a Black mom, and I've had problems within the Manchester public school system. And so I started my activism long before that. I've always worked in social services. My degree is in psychology. So I've always worked in human services, but I've had some issues in the Manchester public school dealing with my beautiful dark-skinned babies, and them being one of only, my one daughter was the only Black girl on the soccer team, and her being retaliated against by the white coaches, and to the point where she had to quit the team, and she was like one of the best players on the team. And so because I spoke out with how bad they treated her, she was retaliated against. So I say all that to say that when I started this movement here with Power Up, I was just letting them know, like, I'm not affiliated with any party. Like, I'm just sick of the BS here in Manchester, which is why I don't protest hop. I don't go to, like, the hottest march, or, like, this one has thousands of people, I'm going there. I stay here, whether it's 5 people or 500 people, because I have to make change here. If I go to New Haven or even Hartford or Bridgeport, who's going to come up here to help me fight the battles that I have here? So that's why I stay here every single day. Not that I don't care about the issues that are there. It's just my babies go to school here, and I got to fight here. But as things have grown here, people are saying, like, maybe you should run. And then when I look at the elected officials, all the way from the mayor, except for one board of director who is Black, down to the superintendent, to the chief of police, to the fire chief, white. And then white male, older white male. And then that is when I was like, you know what? I probably could paint the White House black. Let me start, like, and so I actually am now thinking about possibly in round 20, maybe 22, that I would run for some sort of office locally here in Manchester. But because I'm having such a hard time with keeping jobs because of my health, like, I have seasons where my MS is a remission and then it relapses, and I get infusions twice a year, but I get 4 weeks before my infusion where I'm sick, and then I have 4 weeks after my infusion where I'm sick. It's hard to keep employment. And so as a result, I have now begun the process of making Power Up a nonprofit. We just started our official 501c3 paperwork so I can employ my damn self and say the hell with the systems altogether and employ myself and pay myself. And I just found out that you can't, there's a clause basically like you can't really, it's a conflict of interest to kind of be like the CEO of a nonprofit and run for office. And so I want to at least kind of get it going and be in it for 2 years. So if I have to maybe step down or take a different position in the nonprofits while I'm running for office, then I want to at least kind of get it going, get it started, make sure the vision is strong. So whoever I, step down to and promote them into my position while I'm holding office, I want to make sure that the foundation is strong. And then at that point, yes, I definitely want to create a different party because we've never had, I know that politicians come shucking and jiving in the Black church and in the Black community when it's time for election time, and they're really not about us. I've never felt comfortable with any politician, honestly, feeling like, because you have, other than racism, you have other isms, ableism and sexism and classism. And I fit in all those categories. Even now, as a woman, as an activist, I'm dealing with that. I've had men try to come up to rallies and hijack it or, try to question me about what am I doing and how am I doing it and try to question my integrity, my leadership, my intellect, So I definitely am a voice of the people because I know what it's like to be in senior management and I know what it's like to wait in the DSS line. So I can relate. I know what it's like to be married. I know what it's like to be a single mom. So I can relate to those folks. I know what it's like to be, in court getting a restraining order for my husband. I can relate to so many different folks. And so that's why for me, I definitely want to create a Black party because I know that I can speak to so many. I grew up in a 2-parent household where my father's a pastor. I can relate to those folks. That wasn't for that didn't fit my role. I'm a single mom and I have a different way of how I express my spirituality. I don't believe in going to an organized religion, a church. And so I can relate to those folks. And so all of my experiences have shaped me into the woman that I am now. And so that allows me to be the voice of many.
Thank you, Karen. Barb, did you want to?
Yeah, because I know time is winding down, so I just wanted to get a couple of things in. First of all, the question about how do we ask for something, right away in my head, I always remember Frederick Douglass said that power can seize nothing without demand. We've been asking, and it's time to demand now. So I think that's the kind of mindset we have to be in now. We're no longer asking you what we want. We're telling you what we want and we're demanding it or else. That's one thing. Tearing down statues and changing, painting streets and all those stuff. Those to me are symbolic gestures. They do nothing to tear down structural and systemic racism. So we can't get all caught up in that and say, wow, look what they did. Because if your goal is to dismantle these systems, then that means you're going to be working towards systemic and structural racism that's infected all of these systems. So we have to keep our mind on what it is that we're looking for. As far as a Black party, I have to tell you, to me, I look at which candidates are not tone deaf to the pain and suffering of Black and brown people. The candidate for me doesn't have to be Black, and I'm going to tell you a quick little story about my experience with Black people, because until we understand that once they're in this system, they forget about their Blackness, they get co-opted by the system, so that Blackness no longer needs anything. I was at a protest 3 years ago on the Green, and out of all the hundreds of people that was on the Green, people doing all kinds of stuff, I was doing absolutely nothing. Everybody that was there, I was just targeted because I do this activist work. And so a Black officer put his hand on my shoulder and I said, why are you bothering me of all the people out here and I'm doing nothing? And then I turned around and said, and it would be a brother, you're under arrest. So then he put his goons in me and they were wrestling with me to try to get my hands behind my back and cuff me and all that stuff. And another Black officer gave them the order to take me down to the ground. Thank God they didn't do it. Because I kept telling them, I'm not resisting you, so there's no reason for you to be doing all of this, okay? So then I took my case to Internal Affairs. The head of Internal Affairs was a Black man. They exonerated the officers. The police chief at the time was a Black man. The mayor was Black. The head chair of police commission was Black. So all of those Black people, I thought somewhere I'm gonna find justice. And I didn't find no justice nowhere. I did actually go to court, and a lot of the people brought the video, and they seen the video, knew I really hadn't done it. There was no reason for them to arrest me. And so all the charges were dismissed. And even in court, they wanted me first, they offered mediate with the police. I said, I did nothing, let them mediate with themselves. Then they said, well, what about a nollie? I said, no, a nollie means 13 months on my record. See, I understand the justice system. No, I did nothing. I'm not having nothing on my record for no amount of months. There's only two things you can give me, Judge, because they were getting ready to keep me running back and forth to court. I said, Your Honor, there's two things you can give me, a court date or dismissal, and that's it. And so they ended up giving me a dismissal on all the charges, so I filed a lawsuit. But so that really changed a lot of my, put more Black people in power, and then, we got everything made. So, I mean, I would like to see another party, but it's going to be a party that I know definitely is not tone deaf to Black and brown suffering. They can be a white person, they can be green, blue, I don't care, as long as that's part, because with the parties we have now, they're either catering to the rich or the middle class. Nobody even hears the poor. They're poor and visible. So that's the kind of party I want to put in place. And then one last thing with to young people, I like to say, and I really appreciate the young people that you have on the panel. I've been through a lot of stuff already. I've been, so I don't know everything, never claim to be. I can learn from you, but sometimes you can learn from the people who already been there. So you don't waste your time on 30 years reform like I did. We can just go right to dismantling this system, cut down a lot. You won't get frustrated like I did. Cut down on a lot of that, know what it is we're going after, and be willing to have your ears open to maybe getting some suggestions from people who've already walked that walk. And then finally, what keeps me going, no matter what happens, is what Maya Angelou said. She said, through life, we may go through a lot of defeats, but we must never be defeated. And so that's what keeps me going strong. I don't care what this slimy governor doesn't do or does do. I'm going to keep moving forward until I reach my goal. And that's freedom and equality for all of us.
Can I just say one quick thing? I just wanted to support what she said, Ms. Barbara. I am not from Connecticut. I was born and raised here. My father's a pastor, so we lived up and down the East Coast, but I primarily lived in Jersey and Philly. And I too have a history of police brutality in Philadelphia, my personal history. And mine was the same, Black officers. And so that is why it doesn't matter if you put more Black people, more Black officers in place or in places of power, because the system is just corrupt. Mine was more, I use the word brutality, and some people be like, well, there was more sexual assault, sexual harassment, but I was brutalized. It doesn't, it was brutal. It was in public. He held me against my will in public in traffic court. I was there to pay a fine, see the judge and pay a fine. He stalked me from the time I walked in the court into the building until I got to the courtroom. He walked into the courtroom behind me. He positioned his body while I was sitting down and looked just directly at me. And the room was packed. He just stared at me. He even took his fingers and, kind of went like this to me to let me know that he was watching me. When I left out of the room, he followed me out to every room that I went to. And then when I tried to leave, he, yelled out to me. He didn't know my name, but I had a necklace on that spelled the word love. And so he just yelled out the word love, come here, but that ain't my name. So I kept it moving. And then he had another officer stop me and force me to come back to him. And I didn't want to get close to him. And my gut, that women's intuition thing is real. I knew from the minute I walked in when he was talking to me, and I don't like to use flirt, because flirt is a thing that you do, it's a consensual thing. So it wasn't flirting. And so from that interaction that we were having, I knew in my gut this wasn't going to be a good day. And so because I wasn't as close as he wanted me to be, he grabbed my arm and pulled me close. And so I'm looking at the officer to my right, a Black woman, thinking she might help me.
Mhm.
No help there. His superior was a white man. He's smiling and laughing. And then I looked to my left, and his fellow officer was a Black man. So I'm looking at him thinking like, all right, well, the Black woman ain't going to help me. Maybe this other Black man going to help me. No help there. And then I'm looking like, okay, well, there's cameras here. So the cameras at least he going to maybe be intimidated by that. And I'm like, okay, no. And then I'm looking around like, it's people coming in and like, and absolutely nothing. And then he proceeded to tell me all the things that he wanted to do to me with, once he got me alone and all of that, and what he was going to do with the handcuffs and all this stuff. And he grazed my different parts of my body in public. And then eventually, after I just kept pleading with him to let me go, eventually he let me go. Again, I went to internal affairs by myself, which I don't know why I did at the time, but I just did. And that was a Black man. And the person that they had in the room with me to write down the statement was a Black woman. And I was then kind of put on trial, so to speak. And then every time that they wrote my statement and typed it up, they had to come back in, read the statement. And I almost felt like they were getting the statement wrong on purpose to make me flustered and frustrated, because every time they wrote something wrong, I had to correct it. They had to retype it, bring it back. I had to correct them again. They had to retype it and bring it back, reread the whole thing. And it was just to the point where it was extremely traumatizing. And absolutely nothing happened to the officer. And then on top of that, and that is also why I have real big issues with the media, when I explained how the media just, explained the story of the incidents that happened here in Manchester, and how they were like, 2 men and these 3 Black boys, and they wouldn't announce mention the race of these men. When this story broke the news about me, they mentioned my entire name, the town that I lived in, my kids, my parents, where I was from. There was absolutely no respect for me, the victim, none. And he just got moved to another department, but there was absolutely and they got the video, and there was absolutely nothing done, nothing. And so I agree that it doesn't matter if you even put more Black officers in place, they are still part of, it's sad to say, but once they get inside that system, they're contaminated.
Mm-hmm. And that was the most painful part of the whole ordeal. I mean, getting arrested, I know that's part of what could happen when you're out here doing this work. But the fact that all of these Black people, I thought was down the line, somebody was gonna give me justice, and they didn't. That hurt more than anything.
Thanks, Barb. Matt, do you want to go?
Yeah, first of all, I'm just, God, I hate cops so much. But I was going to answer the union question. Thank you all for just your stories. They're very important, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But on the question of how, like, cops in a union, like, unions are meant to protect working class people, and cops are not working class. Their like explicit purpose is to make sure that we stay in line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as for the like the union question, I think that like the largest union in the United States, the AFL-CIO, should just get rid of the cops. Like, they should get rid of all of the connections to the police. And that's obviously like an economic issue, which is why I think many unions haven't done it. And I think that's why like the synthesis of defunding and reinvesting into community efforts, I feel like, is important, because my general line of thinking within police abolition, within prison abolition, is saying you might lose one police officer who is actually like a horrible union member. Their main job is to like assault, harass, and hurt Black and brown people. And you might lose their dues payment. But what we're going to make sure we do for you as a union is get 2 people who actually help the community. So for every police officer that's fired, I want 2 community organizers. For every police officer that's fired that beats their wife, I want 2 like grief counselors. I want therapists that are publicly available to the Black community, to the brown community. For every police officer that's on narcotics, on that task force that just hurt and harass young Black men, I want like 2 addiction specialists who actually help people in the community who are homeless or have addiction issues. I want people to have non-coercive systems to actually get help. Because this is not my story to tell, but there's an organization called, I believe, Justice for Mubarak. And Mubarak Salmani was a young black man.
Yeah.
I think he was actually, I think he might have been 18. But he had a schizophrenia and he was black. And he was brutally murdered by police officers, and that was a completely preventable death. It happened here in Connecticut. And he should be alive. Every black person murdered by police should be alive. So these are preventable deaths, and they're on the hands of the state. And I think that unions should do their part and expel all the police from their like central union. We should make demands for that as like a movement. And also, if they like need that, like that, if justice is enough for them, I also think that making sure and making it clear that for every police officer fired, we're going to make sure that there's public servants that actually serve the public, that don't kill people, I think is an important thing. And yeah, that's.
Thank you, Matt. So I think that's a good place to end the discussion. If the panelists want to give some last thoughts and plug your organization, I think that was a great time. Barb, do you want to go first?
Okay, we have an actual website, so you can see a lot of the work that we're doing around ending solitary confinement in Connecticut. We're trying to close down Northern facility, which has already received bad reviews from the United Nations torture. So our website is stopsolitaryct.org. And you can see a lot of the stuff that we're doing and hopefully get involved with us, because that's something really important for us that we're working on. And other than that, my only other stuff is police trying to end police brutality and accountability, like I said in the beginning, not only for the police on the street, but for the correctional officers on the inside. Anyone that's abusing our people need to be held accountable. And thank you very much for inviting me to this panel.
Thank you so much for coming on. Karen, do you wanna plug your group, or you driving, or?
Yep. So I'm the founder and co-president of Power Up, and we are in the process of, like I said, becoming a 501c3, and our website is under construction as we speak. So you can find us on Power Up Connecticut on Instagram, at Power Up Connecticut on Instagram. And you can find us on Power Up Manchester on Facebook. And today we just decided that we're also going to create a Twitter. So we don't have that Twitter handle just yet. So yes, please follow us. And that way you can find out, firsthand, like where we are. We're going to be July 11th and 12th. We are planning a all day, I don't want to call it a sit-in because we will be outside to be safe for social distancing. We're planning a sit out July 11th and 12th. And because of the incident that took place with those 3 young Black boys, we are going to be doing a bike drive so people can donate, gently used and new bikes. And then we'll be distributing those bikes to all of the Black and brown children in the town of Manchester. And we're going to get those bikes tuned up, cleaned up, so we can have a bike march Labor Day weekend where the youth are going to lead the march on bikes and scooters and skateboards Labor Day weekend. So
awesome.
Thank you. I put Stop Solitary CT and the Power Up CT info in the chat as well for people.
Did you add .org?
Yes, it's stopsolitaryct.org. Yeah, website.
Thank you.
Of course. Tana, do you want to plug your group? Anything going on? I mean, you talked about a lot of stuff at UConn. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we're a Young Abolitionist Collective. We do have an Instagram. I'm going to type it in the chat so that people can see. But in terms of UConn stuff, right now we're working on petitions to get the student that said racist, homophobic, transphobic things removed from the university. We currently have a petition going around to defund the UConn PD. If you go to, I'm gonna tag somebody who has the petition, who started the petition, and if you can go to their Instagram bio and sign the petition, that would be really helpful to spread the word about what's going on at UConn.
Thanks, Dana. Alicia, do you want to talk about your group?
I'll actually just plug a different event that I'm working on right now. So on July 4th at the Capitol at 2 o'clock, we're going to be having an event called Muslims for Black Lives. And we kind of see this event as part of a larger different events in Hartford that are going on because of the symbolic importance of doing this kind of work on the 4th of July and thinking about how this country was founded on the genocide of indigenous people and the enslavement of Black people and how that brings us to the present day. It's particularly called Muslims for Black Lives because a lot of us Black Muslims felt the need to start to explore the intersections of anti-Blackness and Islamophobia and kind of bring not just the Muslim community, but other like faith-based communities into this work, abolition work that we're doing.
Thanks, Alicia. Matt, do you have anything you want to plug?
I mean, we have SR, the website, and Instagram. I think you can post those in the chat. What else? Dan Piper's campaign for Congressional District 1. I think
State representative.
State representative. Sorry, state rep. I think that's it. I hope.
Thanks, everybody. I'll just say also for Socialist Resurgence, we are in the middle of a 3-month summer fund drive. So if anybody, wants to help us out, hosting more webinars like this, putting together literature, and getting involved in the movements, keeping up our website, that's all available at our website, socialistresurgence.org, which is right in the chat. And I just want to thank everybody for getting on the panel. I know it's like incredibly busy. A busy time for everybody, and we're all doing a million things with this movement, but it was really beautiful having everybody here, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you in the struggle. So thanks again, and have a great night, and thanks to the attendance, the audience who came.
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
I'm gonna end it.